Welcome back. President Cyril Ramaphosa will in a couple of minutes be announcing changes to his executive. Let's get reaction to this. Political analyst Prince Mashele joining us now live. Prince, so this was a long time coming, wasn't it?
There's no question about it. The president should have reshuffled his cabinet a long time ago. In fact, there was almost a public outcry that he is not doing it. It is very clear by now that we are dealing with a very slow president who waits until there is a crisis. But ultimately, tonight he's making his big announcement.
I want to get into details about what we can expect in a moment, but you say we have possibly a very slow president in dealing with his cabinet. Is that the case, or is he under pressure given the re-election issue within the ANC? He has to please people, doesn't he?
Look, the president is dealing with a mess. His party is in the worst crisis since 1994, in my view. He doesn't quite have full control of the party, is murky. So he has to balance the mess in the parties, which is why he is moving slowly. But it is also in his nature to be slow. He doesn't act quickly when there are crises, either in the party or in society. But you are right. He has to please many people and be careful because people could stab him in the back.
Yeah, so let's look at the clusters or ministries under the spotlight here, the security cluster being the main one, given the unrest we saw in the country a couple of weeks ago. There's no doubt that these ministers either have to be given the boot or moved somewhere else.
Yeah, look, if we go by ANC history, they are not going to be given the boot. They will be recycled in cabinet. That's number one. Number two, even if you wanted to give them the boot, the ANC has reached a dead end in terms of talent. If you think of parliament and you ask yourself, if he kicks out Beki Cele, he kicks out Ayanda Dlodlo, he kicks out Mapingakula, he kicks out the deputy president who has been an absent liability, who could come into those positions? You cannot see clear candidates in the ANC because the ANC has run out of talent. So the likelihood that we are going to see will be a shift. A minister will be moved from one position to another, which is actually a recycling exercise, but it doesn't really change anything. So in other words, you are likely to remain with the very same cabinet that we had before. The only thing would be a reshuffle of personalities from one position to the other.
Yeah, that would be concerning, isn't it? Because whether or not these ministers can perform in any of those positions is quite questionable. Let's talk then about the very important health ministry of South Africa, especially during this pandemic. Zweli Mkhize's name pops up as number one here, given the allegations against him. What does the president need to do there? Simple.
Remove Zweli Mkhize as soon as possible. It is actually an embarrassment on the part of the president that Zweli Mkhize continues to receive a salary from the public when all the scandals are out, that this is someone who has stolen money from the public. So if the president were not to remove Zweli Mkhize, I think that would be the end of whatever shred of political and leadership credibility that remains in the president. So to answer your question more precisely, Shahan, Zweli Mkhize must go. There is no other way out. The only challenge is this: with whom do you replace him? You would expect that at least you need a doctor, a medical doctor, given the fact that we are dealing with the coronavirus currently, and the medical challenges are complex. But the problem is, if you look in cabinet, you are left with Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. You are left with Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Both of these ministers are tired and old. In fact, they are themselves a liability in cabinet. So I cannot see a possible replacement for Zweli Mkhize from Cyril Ramaphosa's cabinet.
Yeah, that's very worrying. There are other issues when it comes to vacancies within his cabinet. We have Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, of course, acting in the capacity of minister in the presidency after Jackson Mthembu passed away. And then regarding the Small Business Development Ministry, because she was moved from that ministry to go into the presidency. Who would you see moving into those positions? And if you look at Ntshabeni, has she be doing a proper job as minister in the presidency anyway?
The question is, what does a minister in the presidency do? That's the question. And if people liked the former minister, Jackson Mthembu, may his soul rest in peace. But what exactly did the man do other than just chairing meetings? What budget did he have to do what? The answer is, it's a completely useless position. It's a waste of money. In fact, it has no impact on cabinet. It has no impact on society. When she wakes up in the morning, Shabeni, what exactly does she do? Nobody knows. So that's the problem. In fact, given the economic crisis now, if I were the president, I would actually reduce the number of cabinet portfolios, one of which would be the minister in the presidency who does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's such a tricky situation. I love how frank you are always. Prince Mashele, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Prince Mashele, of course, is a political analyst.